Women don't need special treatment and training. They need access to standards and instructors willing to uphold them. That's what this conversation is about.
I find myself on the range as a female, surrounded by men, and the men were bringing their significant others, and I found that men were unkind.
There's a danger in our society of people being false with that, a false type of empowerment. Yeah, I want to empower you, but it's really not about you.
It's just one of those things. Men doesn't have the patience, especially with their wives.
Hello and welcome to the Prepared and Proven podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Dubose Jr. Charlene Funderburg is the founder of Heels and Steel Gun Club and Training Institute and a woman who has done the work as a student, an instructor, and a leader. She's proof of what happens when standards meet purpose. And she's also a hero of mine. Let's get into it. So Charlene, how are you today?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing well. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do in the firearms industry?
Well, I mainly teach. I'm a certified instructor. I've been doing it for now going on 4 years. Actually, I'm a veteran of the Air Force for 14 and a half years. I got out and tried to figure out my life like most people do. I eventually got into firearms training, and as I progressively went to the range, and I find myself on the range as a female surrounded by men, and the men were bringing their significant others, whether it be their sisters, their aunt, their girlfriends, whatever it was. And I found that men were unkind to their female friends or whoever it was. They weren't speaking kind to them. They weren't speaking gently to them. They were being rough with them. And when you're speaking harshly to a person and trying to give them instructions on how to do something, especially when you're talking about something like with firearms, how are they going to retain that when you're speaking rough to them? Especially, it's almost like when you're talking with a child, when you're scolding them, how do you expect them to retain that most of the time? So it's the same thing as when you're talking to a person with firearms. When you're yelling at them, go back, especially when you're talking about being in the service. When you're going through basic training, you're expecting that TI, that training instructor, to yell at you. That's their job. Now, get out of that training, get out of that mindset. You don't expect people to be yelling at you when you're trying to learn something. Now we look at that as being disrespectful. So
that would cause you to kind of take that step.
Right. Because as a female, I don't want anybody to be yelling at me. I'm past that point. We always look at that. We always talk about it. I'm grown now. Mm-hmm. I don't want anybody to be yelling at me anymore. So when we look at being respectful, and that's what I try to be when I'm talking with men, when I'm talking with women. Let's be respectful. So I try to talk with people, as we say, the way we want people to speak to us, respectfully. This is how we do it. We don't have to yell at people. We don't have to call them out of their names. We don't have to do any of that. Let's just treat people the way we want to be treated.
Sure.
So that's the whole aspect of it. Be respectful. Sure, we can sometimes get out of character, especially when we're talking about the danger of it. You don't want anybody, especially when we're talking about firearms, to turn around and point it at something they should be pointing, because we know all about the universal.
We get more guns pointed at us as instructors, don't we?
Yes, we do. Because okay, people don't know.
Right. And it sounds like you really get them started in the foundation.
That's one of the main things. The foundations are important when you're teaching people about guns.
And that's what people should look for in instructors. You know, someone that's grounded in foundation, not just hype and tactics and everything. The foundation has to come before all of that anyway, right?
Right.
So,
the fundamentals. You have to start with the fundamentals. When I was being taught by you, this guy was one of my main instructors. So yes, when I was being taught by my instructors, the fundamentals were always the foundation. You always have to start with that. That way it's never forgotten. The foundation is always the most important thing, because if your foundation is shaky, if your foundation is not solid, then you don't have anything to build on.
Right.
Everything else is going to fail if your foundation is not solid.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about, all right, because we met and we've done some training together, right?
Yes.
So to me, it seems like before that even happened, you already were in the mindset of becoming an instructor, right? You're already in the mindset of seeing what's happening on the range and wanting to be that difference maker, right? So my question is, what was your path like before and after meeting me? What was your instructor path like? What was your experience with gaining the training and getting the certifications and everything going forward, so you can get to where you're certified instructor? What was that path like?
Well, let's back up. Okay, I in the beginning, I had no thought of becoming an instructor.
Okay.
None whatsoever. Let's back up a little bit further. I bought my first gun at a gun show. Didn't know what I was doing. Had no knowledge of guns. As I said, I was in the military 14 years. Bought my first gun, and it stayed in my closet, in the packaging. Never touched it after I bought it. 10 years.
Ooh.
10 years. Bought it, stayed in the closet. 10 years. Finally took a class. Loved it. Loved shooting it. Fell in love with it. Started taking classes. I'm like, okay, this is my hobby from now on. Started going to the range every week. Every week.
Wow.
That's how much I loved it. Okay. And that's when I started noticing everything around me, and how everybody was shooting and what was going on and how everybody was interacting with the people that they were bringing to the range, mainly the men and the women that were coming to the range. I'm like, what was going on? And I was wondering why were the women letting the men treat them that way? That was my main question. And of course, I wasn't saying anything because it wasn't any of my business.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, in order for me to make a change, I had to put myself in a position to make a change. Okay. So that was my thought.
Okay.
The only way I can make a change is to put myself in a position to make a change. So that was when I decided to put myself on a path to become an instructor.
And how's the experience been for you?
Excellent. I wouldn't change anything. I've met a lot of great people, a lot of great women. So now I not only train women, but I train men also. I train children. Also have the opportunity to teach kids and teach them how to become, I can't say responsible gun owners because they're not in that position yet.
But they're on that path.
Right. They're on that path to learn how to handle guns, the path of how to handle, how to tell an adult about if there's a gun in the home. Because these days, we let our children go to other people's homes, and we don't know what's in that other person's home. The adult sometimes may know that child's parents, or maybe they don't. So does that parent talk to that other parent and say, do you have guns in your home?
Usually not. That's
the conversation may or may not take place.
Right.
So
you're right. And I'm glad that they're finding a way to get an instructor like yourself that's has a heart of helping and teaching children. And the question I get from some people are like, well, how old should they be before I start teaching them? And what is your answer if someone asks you that? If how old should the child be before training?
It depends on the age of the child. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, you can teach your child at any age. Mm-hmm. At any age, you can sit down and talk to your child and say, hey, I want you to know about guns. Mm-hmm. And I want you to understand that you can, if you see a gun, you should not touch it, for one. Mm-hmm. You should tell an adult that there's a gun around.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So those are the two main things. If you don't tell your child anything else, tell them do not touch that gun, and go and tell an adult that there is a gun there.
Yeah. I usually tell them that, exactly that as well. But I'm like, there's no set age. If they have a question, you've got to answer the question. They could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But the minute they start showing any type of interest in guns, that conversation has to happen no matter what the age is.
And I tell them it's just like sex. If you don't tell your child about it, somebody else will.
Absolutely. And that somebody else may not have your thought process on it. They're not going to, we see it all the time in schools, the schools are teaching our kids. That might not be the mindset we want to teach our kids in some cases. So yeah, it's definite. So I'm definitely glad to have you in the community in the capacity that you are, because you not only bring skill, you bring heart, you bring caring, and you're definitely one of my heroes, because I've seen limited, but I've seen your path and I've seen your growth. And I've seen you go from a student to an instructor to having your own gun club. So why don't we tell us a little something about your gun club? What's the name of your gun club?
It's called Heels and Steels Gun Club and Training Institute. Okay. So we meet whenever we can. That's the thing. I don't have a set time or anything, because everybody is everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everybody is busy. So it's one of those things where, hey, do you want to meet? Do you have time? Do you want to get together? So
do you always shoot when you meet, or sometimes you
No, sometimes it's just a get together. Okay. Where we just sit and talk about the latest gun, who has what. Have you bought anything lately? Okay. So it's not all the time, because for one, ammunition is getting expensive. Guns is getting expensive. Range time is getting expensive. So it's not all the time that you want to meet at the range. It's not all the time that you want to go and shoot. Sometimes we just go out to eat. Sometimes it's just a fellowship. Right. Sometimes it's just a socializing thing. So it's not all the time you just shooting. You're just going out to socialize sometime.
And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
Because some people I just need to be with people of like minds.
Right. You just want to connect.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes we do go out to shoot and see what's going on. Have you lost your edge? Sometimes it is just a competition thing. You know, what's going on with you, and it is a touch base mental thing. Also, we want to keep in touch with each other. What's going on in your life is not just like we say a shoot thing. Is there anything we can help you with?
I love it. And I you probably don't know, but I brag on you all the time, because when ladies talk about needing environment like that, I go, I got just the person for you. And I talk about you because I know in the short time we've known each other, I've known that this is someone that I want to be in my circle forever. It just because you have that giving spirit, but you also have that it's not about me, it's about you. And it's about how we can help you and how we can help build you up and lift you up. And there's a danger in our society of people being false with that, trying to, have a false type of empowerment, yeah, I want to empower you, but it's really not about you type thing. And I don't see that in you. So, yeah, I definitely see where you've gotten your confidence. So, well, let me ask you this. You say at one point you just, you bought a gun, it sat for 10 years and you didn't. How did you build up that confidence to go from I've got a gun I've had for 10 years to instructor? I mean, how did that confidence build other than actually getting out, loving the shooting portion of it and loving and seeing, how did you build the confidence? Because you said you didn't say anything to people because it's not your business. What was the turning point that you can put your finger on that flip that switch that goes, I'm going to do it? Let's pause for a minute because this is important. Conversations like this are exactly why the Instructor Track exists. At DJR Empowerment, we don't teach people to become instructors. We support the right people when they're ready to take the next step by helping them gain clarity, perspective, and access to the right conversations and the right circles. Because experience matters, context matters, and growth doesn't happen in isolation. The Instructor Track is about exposure to lived experience, professional insight, and the realities that don't always show up in class curriculum. If you want to go deeper than surface level training, that path starts with doing the work, seeking the right guidance, and making the decision to pay it forward. Now let's get back to the show. What was the turning point that you can put your finger on that flip that switch that goes, I'm going to do it?
Well, it was mostly training. That bottom line, it was training. Because once you start to train, that is where your confidence comes. And once you start looking at the world and what's happening in the world, and your training and your confidence, they both come together. Because there's a tragedy in being unprepared. And that's one of my favorite sayings. There's a tragedy in being unprepared. And if you are unprepared, there is nothing that you can do. If you're walking around with your head in the clouds, and as you know, we call that condition white. You're walking around with your head in the clouds. You're on your phone all the time. You're in condition white. You don't know what's going on. You got your headphones and you're on and you're in public and you don't know someone can walk up on you. Someone can run up on you. A car can come around the corner and you don't know what's going on. Bam. It's done. It's over. You don't know what happened. And you're gone. Instead of being prepared, because anything can happen at any time.
And your confidence and everything came together with your training.
Yes.
So that's outstanding. So I did have a question, and I apologize for going backwards, because I did have a question about the men treating the women on the range, for lack of a better term, with disrespect, not respectful. And I get a lot of women that come to me, their husbands actually send them to me because they feel they don't have the patience to deal with them. Are you finding that a lot of the women that you do come into contact with have significant others that may not have had a good experience with? Or was it something that the male trainers out there didn't treat them with a certain respect, as because they might see them as not on their level as far as capability?
I find that most of the women says that the men either don't have the patience for them, or the men mansplain. And they act like they don't understand what they're saying.
They don't they think, oh, you're a woman, so you don't understand, you don't comprehend what another man is going to expect.
Right.
So I have to break it down to you a
right.
little further, and which is condescending.
Right.
So,
right. So it's just one of those things. So it's
that's a hot button, right?
I'm trying.
Speak the truth. There's no censorship on this channel.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. Men doesn't have the patience, especially with their wives or significant others. So, so they rather have a woman do it.
And this is why I have women's class. Because a lot of times women want to be with women.
Yeah.
You know.
So, and it's so much fun. And it's so much fun when I have an all women class, because we joke around, we scream, we have fun, and you know, I get to say a lot of things that I don't normally say when I have men in my classes.
A lot of time the women control my class. I just go with the point. I'm just here to facilitate. So I let them go, and you know, I was asked why have a separate class for women? It's the same material. It might be the same overall material, but it's taught differently and it's explained differently. It's not mansplaining, but we speak different languages.
We do.
We speak different languages. And if you can't speak that language, you know, in my co-ed classes, so many times women come in and they don't say a word unless I engage with them, because they get surrounded and they're just like, I'm just going to sit here and not say anything. Well, if you've been to any of my classes, you know you're not coming to my class and say nothing. I will pick on you. I will poke you until you say something, not in a disrespectful way, but I'm not that instructor that goes in and teaches off a screen and just regurgitates what someone else said or whatever. I want the engagement. And in the women's class, we get engagement.
Women feel so much at ease when they're surrounded by other women. That's it. And they don't feel like they have to cow down because there's men. There are men there.
And we get that in the co-ed classes?
Because they feel like if there's a man there, then they're going to do their man thing and say something or attack them or think that they've said something stupid, you know, or talk down to them, you know,
And why
because
do you think that environment matters?
because because that's the way, I hate to put it like this, that's the way men are. That's the way men are, even on the range. And I've had it done to me, even as an instructor. I've had it done to me. Because even not so long ago, and I've had this little incident on the range where I was helping a student, and the gun got jammed, and another instructor said to me, you know, drop the mag. And I just looked at him like, like, why do you think you need to tell me that? You know, but I did not say anything because of where I was. But it was just one of those things. I don't know. It's just, it wasn't a helpful hint. It was because it was just one of those things where I'm kind of like, let me do my job here. You have a student, you take care of your student. Let me take care of my student. And
Yeah.
so it's just a man thing, I'm saying.
I'm a man. I'm not taking offense. I know where it's coming from, and I definitely understand. I've been on the range, and I've seen it, and it's cringe moment for me, because I'm like, what? And then I, as an instructor, want to step and go, dude, you don't need to talk to her like that, you know. And it actually, training women has helped me with training women, because I'm like, there are so many things I can't say in the way I want to say it. Not that a woman can't take it, it can be misconstrued, right? But I don't think disrespecting anybody on the range is a good teaching tactic. And I'd go through it with men too, and I'm just like, if you ain't that gun at me one more time, I'm gonna punch you right in the face. But I can't say that, and I just have to be, stern with them, and not that. And I've probably got more guns aimed at me by men than women, because women, I don't know, they're more maternal, and they're more careful, unless they're nervous. If they're overly nervous, everybody's going to do something that they wouldn't normally do. I've had seasoned people get nervous on the range, where I'm like, why are you nervous? And sometimes that certified instructor on the shirt makes people nervous. It's like, wow, I'm human. I'm just like you, right? But I've seen the men treat women crazy. I don't like it. And again, we're both in that position of, I got to mind my business. I can't go over there and say something. Sometimes you can. And I have said to people, I was like, hey, do you mind if I help you out? Do you mind if I give a little bit of advice? And I usually ask. If they say, no, I got it, no problem. But if they say, oh, go ahead, no problem. I'm like, you're getting some free instruction here. Take it. And usually what I try to do is set an example, right? What I'm telling her has very little to do with my trying to teach her something. I'm trying to get across to you that you don't have to yell at her to get her to have the point. So if you're watching me, take an example from me, and somebody right now is in the comments going, that is not your business. Leave them people alone. And you're probably right, but it's the protector in me is a protector regardless. And it's hard for me not to say something. Not that she needs my protection, not that any of that. It's not about her. It's about him. It's about him, because he is not treating her properly.
But the thing is, It is about her.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is she allows herself
Mm-hmm.
to be treated that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the unfortunate part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it is about her.
Let's switch gears just a little bit. So I talk about this a lot because we see it a lot and we hear a lot about it. The optics of real life versus what you can learn online, what you can see in the YouTubes and all of these different platforms. Do you find that you have ladies that come in with a misconception based on what they've learned online already, versus what you might teach them in person? Do you find that happens? I know a lot of guys watch a lot of videos. Are you finding that women are watching these same videos and kind of come in with a misconception of what training is?
The crazy thing is, I find the craziest thing is I find that women have the misconception about TV shows more than they do about YouTube and Instagram and all these other programs.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Like what? Give me an example.
I mean, regular TV shows, whether it be Westerns or CSI or NCIS, I mean, TV shows. That's crazy. In my classes, they will talk about TV shows and what happens on TV shows more than they do about what happens anything on YouTube or Instagram or anything like that. And I thought that was just crazy.
Yeah. So much out there in the training world, and TV shows are a big thing. TV shows and movies, the reality and what you can screw up filters into the classroom a lot. It does. And one of my things is well, here's the truth. It people like, well, here's the truth. Here's the truth. None of it's real. None of it. Let's talk about what's real. Let's get you some real insights, right? And it's bled into a lot of the society. But so how does Heels and Steel? So we talked about Heels and Steels. We talked about the fact that you guys meet, you guys socialize, you don't always go to the range or everything. Heels and Steel Gun Club. That is definitely needed. It definitely needs to be more widespread. There needs to be more women that come together and train and talk and eat and do all of that, because it gives an outlet. Sort of like when I was in my motorcycle club, we didn't always ride. Sometimes we just got together, had cookouts. We went to parties. We partied a lot. I'm glad I'm not in that area of my life anymore, that season of my life. But it was more than just about the ride, right? And it sounds to me that Heels and Steel is more than just about the gun and about the shooting. So when you were coming up with the concept and you were thinking it through, what were some of your thought processes about what you wanted to provide for the ladies? We already know about the provide the guidance and everything else. What was there anything else that was involved in that decision to really do it?
Well, I wanted to make sure that, because believe it or not, I'm an introvert. Don't do that.
I'm kidding.
Believe it or not, I am. So I wanted something to pull me out. To tell the truth, I wanted something to pull me out.
Okay.
So I figured, because I'm doing this and doing something that I really loved, I'm like, maybe there are other people who was like me, who wanted something that they can get into that would pull themselves out of their shell, so that they could come out and meet other people and maybe just get into something that they didn't have to feel like they were, really being bombarded, and being made to feel, like something that's really cringeworthy, that they were, something that they were something that they maybe how you feel like you're part of something, but you're really not part of something.
You wanted to give them an environment they could always feel a part of.
Right. And that's the thing. People, they come out. I really want them to feel welcome. I want them to feel like they're a part of it. I don't want anybody to feel like that they're not really a part of the team, a part of the group. I don't want them to sit back and like, ugh. I don't want anybody coming in and they're like, ugh, I don't think this is right for me. I want everybody to come in. If you have your weapon, I want you to talk about your weapon. I want you to say, hey, this is what I got. I don't want anybody coming in and say, oh, I don't have a weapon. Fine. You're still a part of us. We can teach you about your weapon, any weapon. If you don't have your weapon yet, that's fine.
And sometimes that's the barrier of entry that they need.
Right. We can teach you whatever it is that you want to know. How are you going to carry? From the basics to whatever it is that you want to carry. We got you.
We definitely need to partner on that one, because I don't know a whole lot about the female side of carrying. And I'm like, I could try and figure it out, but I don't live it. So it's hard for me. So I'm like, okay, I need a partner on this one. Because I could tell you, 6, 12, 4 o'clock, and I can't do all the rest.
That's all. We got you. From your garter carry to your waistband, your inner waistband, your outer waistband.
Yeah, we need to have that conversation.
Yeah,
we need to get.
We'll talk about it all. We'll talk about it all.
So do you ever have the conversation with the ladies about them, as far as, because we know about the shooting sports, we know about the love, the hobby and the thing, but do you ever have the conversation with them about them being their primary protector, being the responsible person for their protector, not waiting on someone else to protect them? Let's take a quick pause, because this really matters. Real life doesn't grade you on how clean your transition looked. It only cares about whether what you did actually worked. At the DJR Empowerment Academy, we train for outcomes, not likes, not applause, not highlight reels. If you're serious about pressure-tested skills, real feedback, and training that actually translates when it counts, private coaching is where that happens. Because when performance matters, results beat appearance every single time. Train for outcomes, not applause. Now back to the show. Do you ever have the conversation with them about them being their primary protector, being the responsible person for their protector, not waiting on someone else to protect?
Oh yeah, we talk about that all the time. Because women have to realize that they are their first responder. Everybody has to realize, for one, that they are their first responder. And I tell them, Superman is not coming to help you. Batman is not coming to help you. It takes the police anywhere between 4 and 11 minutes to get to you if something happens. So if anything happens, who is coming to help you? Only you can protect you and your family. So you're going to have to decide, how is that going to happen? And you are going to have to figure it out for yourself. So when it comes down to protecting you and your family, you're going to have to figure it out. And if it comes down to a firearm, it's best to have to figure it out before it happens so we can help.
That's awesome. How would you suggest they figure it out? Let me give you an example. Okay. So you have a young lady who's training. Okay. So she knows how to use it. She's got her fundamentals down. She goes home after training with you. What then? How do they train to protect themselves in the moment? What would be your suggestion? Let's say they go home. Okay, I'm not going to see you for a month. Let's just say you have a standing monthly appointment. What training would they need to do to be ready in that moment, other than being able to actually hit the target?
Okay, you have your dry fire training. You need to do that if you can every day, several times a day if you can. You have your holster training. Do you have your holster? You should have a holster. Gotta have a holster.
Gotta have a holster?
Gotta have a holster. You got a gun, you gotta have a holster.
Can't just throw it in the purse.
You better not just throw it in a purse. Look. If you got a gun, if you have a gun as a woman, if you have a gun, you gotta have a holster. Unless you have a concealed carry purse, okay? You have a concealed carry purse, that means you have a compartment strictly for your gun. Nothing else goes into that compartment but your gun. That's all that goes in there. So that's fine. But you must also train on how you're going to get that gun out of that compartment when it's necessary. Because that's going to have to be a quick, fast, and in a hurry procedure also. So you've got to train for that. You also have to recognize that you can't put that purse just anywhere. You can't just leave it. So wherever that purse goes, wherever you go, that purse goes also. You can't just leave it. So if that gun is not on you, if it's in a purse, you got to take that purse with you. So all these things you have to recognize, all these things you got to remember. So you've got to dry fire train. You've got to train with your holster. You've got to train picking up your gun. Where are you going to keep your gun? Is that gun going to be your everyday carry? All these things you've got to think about.
So training is more than just on the range.
Oh, yes. Yes. You've got to think about all these things.
Some people don't know what dry fire drills are. I'm finding when I ask in class, do anybody not know what dry fire drills are? I get a majority of the hands that raise their hands. They don't have a clue. And we have to, and I usually tell them one or two things they can do to dry fire drill, usually dealing with grip and finger placement when they go to fire. But those are things, like you said, they need to be training for that every day. Because it needs to be like second nature. It needs to be, I can do it without thinking about it.
Right.
Because I'm trained to do this.
Okay.
We had a young lady that was in class one day, and she didn't have a whole lot of training, but she had enough training to protect herself in the moment when someone came into her house. And most people are of the mind that if you come into my house, everything's fair game, which people is not true. Depending on what state you live in, I know this is going out statewide, worldwide, countrywide, whatever. Know the laws of where you live. But here in Virginia, you cannot just fire at a silhouette in your doorway because you're the only one home and no one else should be there. She was trained enough in the moment that she knew that even though a body came through her door, she still needed to be able to identify that body as a threat, as a target, meaning she had to turn the light on. And I'm finding that most people, not just women, people don't understand that. And I was so happy that she understood it and she followed procedure and she did not kill the silhouette because it was her neighbor who walked into the wrong house. And that's part of the training that you can't teach on the range. You have to kind of imagine, what would I do in this moment? And if I can imagine it, what would I do? Practice doing it. And I'm so glad that you're having those conversations with your students, male or female, because you do teach male as well. And you deserve all of the respect that you're given. And if they don't give you your respect, I better not be around. That's for one. Not that you need me. I just can't watch that. You know what I mean? So trust me, she is fully capable of doing everything she needs. She does not need me to come to her rescue, and I don't need to. So because I love this woman. She's the greatest. So, but I definitely appreciate you coming out and talking with us and sharing your insights. Where can we contact you? Where can we get to talk to you, and what social media you have and things? What do you have going on?
I'm on Facebook. Just look up Heels and Steels Gun Club.
Okay.
You can reach me at my email, Heels and Steels Gun Club. Yeah. Or you can reach me at my website at Heels and Steels Gun Club and Training Institute.
That's outstanding. We're gonna definitely y'all need to come see her. You based out of Portsmouth?
Portsmouth,
all right,
yes.
Portsmouth, Virginia. If you are within 50 to 100 miles of Portsmouth, Virginia, you need to come see Charlene because she has a wealth of knowledge. She cares about your well-being, and she does it respectfully, and I just love her for it. And I need to have her in on more of my classes, and we definitely going to do this guns and gear class because I got the guys covered, but the women I flounder, and I'm gonna just be real with you. I just and some people say, well, you shouldn't admit that. Well, I know my weaknesses, and that's why you have partnerships and people you can work with, right?
Yes.
So, anything else that you want to say as we take us out of here?
Keep in mind the women are the most vulnerable. Women and the elderly are the most vulnerable of our population. So we must learn how to protect ourselves. And no one can protect you like you can. Remember, there's a tragedy in being unprepared, and no one can protect you like you can. So keep your heads from out the clouds and keep your head on a swivel. Stay prepared.
Wow, I can't say it any better than that. Stay safe, stay prepared, and stay empowered. We'll see y'all next time.